and gentlemen, I'm your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 336 once again for episode 193 of the 815 Exchange. And ladies and gentlemen, it is draft day. No Johnny Manziel. We're talking Caitlin Clark. We'll talk about that in a roundup. But of course, we had UFC 300 this week. We had whatever's going on with Kentucky this week. We had champions. Oh my goodness, what a first leg in the Champions League Quarterfinals that we have to talk about. We had that happen this week. And of course, we had the end of the NBA regular season, the Masters. Oh my goodness, what a week it was. So much motion. I had an elite week. I had an elite week. I cannot lie. Personally, had an elite week, made some moves in, some professional settings as well. We may be live from the 704 very, very soon again. So we might have a little bit of a condensed set for a little bit. Or, we'll see what the set ends up looking like. But yeah, got a lot of stuff going on. And we didn't even mention the fact that Drake and Kendrick has fully kicked off now. We got a lot to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. So sit back, relax. Get comfy, get your chair, get your water, get your snacks, get your drink, wherever you are, get set and get comfy because, ladies and gentlemen, we have an episode today. And of course, I also took over a radio. Shout out to the One Free Game podcast. Shout out to my boys, Christian and Seth. Join them on nice little takeover. So, if you were there for that, posted that on my socials, which you can find in the description and in the outro. You guys can go back and check out the VOD, I guess, so to speak, of that. Oh, and as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys enjoying the content. And as always, timestamps are included. So if one of these, subjects I just talked about or, you see embedded in the video, you want to skip ahead to, feel free to do that. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, it was a historical night in mixed martial arts, even though this is a combat sports titled subject, because we do have to talk about Mr. Devin Haney versus Mr. Ryan Garcia at the end of this week. But, we're going to kick this off with UFC 300. And for the most part, this is going to be a UFC 300 recap. So, ladies and gentlemen, of course, it was headlined. And honestly, I was talking crazy, I will admit, about UFC 300 in the build-up to this event. Mostly because the headliner, which you'll see why, was Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill, which for a UFC, 100, 200, 300, 400, a major event like this is let's be real. It's a weak main event. However, the rest of the card was far from that. But of course, we starting off with the main event. We're going reverse chronologically. And Alex Pereira did exactly. Poatan did exactly what we thought he was going to do to Jamal Hill, to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. It was the left of death, as I call it, the left of death connected right on Jamal Hill's chin. He went down, took a couple blows, and that was all she wrote in round one. And that was after Jamal Hill had been talking crazy. Been talking crazy to Alex in the whole build-up to the fight, the entire fight week, the embeddeds, the press conferences. He was talking crazy during Poatan's entrance. Just for him to get Khabib lamed by Alex Pereira after a first-round knockout. Yikes. That main event I said Alex KO, no surprise. In fact, I thought it might even go to maybe the second or third. I thought Alex might, take some more time, downloading in that first round. But nope, left of death, and that was all she wrote. And that's all we got to talk about. Light heavyweight king is still Alex Pereira. One more thing, though. Alex said he wants to go to heavyweight, and I'm going to be honest. The man rehydrated to 233, and I think it's possible. It would be crazy for his legacy. We've seen guys, even though it's still an incredible honor, to win 2 titles. We've even seen 2 guys, people defend 2 titles. But a third? We're talking all-time great territory. And in such a short amount of time, Pereira continues to be the best. Light heavyweight king, period. Who's the strawweight queen? Who is the strawweight queen, ladies and gentlemen? It is still, Weili Zhang. A brilliant performance against Yan Chaoman. I hope I'm saying that right. Yan Chaoman. I believe that's the correct pronunciation. But yes, she just went to work. Yan had moments. She had moments where it was like, okay, but Weili just kind of took over, right? There was moments Yan showed some stuff. She wasn't completely getting washed. But Weili was just a little bit better, had counters to her counters. And, there was a little bit of levels. Still, just levels to this fight. And like I said, it was a big legacy fight for Weili, creating some stability in that division. And she did just that, takes out her countrywoman in a very historical fight for, Chinese mixed martial arts. But Weili, still queen at 115. Oh boy. This was the big one. The BMF. Who is the baddest of... Is it Justin Gaethje, the human highlight reel, or is the best still blessed? And for 5 rounds, we got an answer. But with 1 second left on the clock, the blessed one said, "Come here, JG." JG is not going to go out like no pussy. So he said, "Max, I'm with it. Even though I'm getting the brakes beat off me, I'm with it." And what does the blessed one do? Max Holloway delivers one of the most iconic knockouts in the history of the sport with 1 second left on the clock. And ladies and gentlemen, not only is Max Holloway the baddest but the best is still blessed. The baddest is blessed. Max Holloway, what a performance. What a performance. Max is my boy. I had doubts because of, what we saw 4 years ago. The last time when Max went up to 155, Poirier, let's be honest, took him to the woolshed. That was the first time, pre-Volk, we saw some, clinks in Max's armor. But you know what? He came back here. Maybe it was a little bit more preparation. Maybe it was learning those lessons against DP, and maybe it's just him getting better over the course of the 4 years, regardless of the damage and regardless of the losses, regardless of all of it. And what did he do against Justin Gaethje, who just KO'd DP, by the way? Put him to sleep and outclassed him for 5 rounds. Because it wasn't like, Max needed to knock out JG in that last round at the last second. No. He could have took the UD. It was going to be a unanimous decision, but Max is a warrior. He epitomizes what a BMF is. He said, "Come here and let's get it." And that is why Max Holloway is one of the greatest to ever do it, one of the most entertaining to ever do it, and why he is one of, the most beloved fighters of all time is everything we saw in that last 30 seconds of that fight. So yeah, the best stays blessed. The BMF is also blessed. And ladies and gentlemen, Max Holloway, you are such a legend. He is him, like Max said, Max is him, bro. He's him. You know who else is him, apparently? Arman is him. All right, Arman is him. Charlie Olives, I said it was a 50-50. Well, it literally came down to a split decision. But Arman proved it. He proved it. We knew he was a dangerous, contender going into this. He went in against Charlie Olives, and he proves it. He gets a split decision. It was a good scrap. But, hey, Charlie Olives is not unbeatable. We knew he could be beaten, but we know how dangerous he is. And Arman, he had it. He had it. Showed no fear. No fear. He was taking down Charlie Olives, which is not foreign. But by the way, for those that don't know, and you're casual in the sport of, UFC or MMA, Charles Oliveira is the most dangerous Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner we have on the roster. Most subs of all time. He is dangerous off his back, regardless if you take him down or not. He is deadly. Will sub you, break you with a quickness. Arman was taking him down and fighting for control with him. I was just he got it. He got it. So yeah, just an incredible performance from Arman. He gets the split decision, and he's beating down the door at 155. I think him and Islam might be the fight to make next. We will see, of course. Jiri. He really is a samurai. He really is. Of course, this was should have been main card over, Bo Nickel, with all due respect. But nonetheless, we got Jiri versus Rakic finally. I knew it was going to be a good matchup. I knew it was going to be entertaining. Rakic brought it to Jiri, as we always see in that first round. Jiri looked like he might get slumped at multiple moments, but you know what? The man is a samurai. His chin is made of vibranium, and his soul is made out of, I don't know, some precious metal that we have not unearthed yet. He is a beast. Jiri is a beast. He is a freak. I don't know what to call it. He just will not, refuses to be stopped, except if your name is Alex Pereira. But Jiri gets the KO of Rakic in insane fashion in round 2. Like I said, Rakic beat the brakes off that boy in round 1. But Jiri said, you know what? This is normal. No panic. Once again, my chin is made of vibranium and my soul is of a samurai. I am dying in here or I'm going to knock you out. And that is exactly what happened. Jerry, he needs to be, listen, if BMF wasn't currently in the 155s, hey, I would say, and Max might accept it because he's a psychopath, but Max versus Jerry for BMF, because Jerry just a savage. He's an absolute savage. Rakic, no real, I don't really think he deserves to, fall some more. It's just Jerry's built different, and yeah, he remains the number one contender at light heavyweight. Looks like he might get that Alex rematch soon if Alex doesn't go to heavyweight. And with that said, looking at some of the rest of this card, Bo Nickel, like I said, no pressure. We all knew he was going to do what he did to Brundage, and that's exactly what happened. Quick finish in round 2. Aljo and Qatar did not leave Aljo necessarily probably in the good graces of the fans, but when has Aljo ever been in the good graces of the fans? He gets the UD. Boy, has anybody's stock fallen as much as Calvin Qatar in the past 2 fights, but Aljo throws up, gets that first win. We'll see what happens there. Kayla Harrison is the real deal, or at least against Holly Holm. I mean, this was a sacrifice. This was a retirement fight for Holly Holm. This was a thank you for what you did to the sport. Thank you for that iconic moment against Ronda. Thank you for, what you've done. All right, we're going to feed you and feed your name to the next big thing, and that appears to be Kayla Harrison because she's everything that you thought she was, even with the weight cut, completely dominates Holly. No real surprise there, but yeah, Kayla looks like she's going to smoke everybody at 135 as long as she can make the weight. Lopez, Sparks Yusuf. I mean, so I didn't expect this. I mean, not that I didn't see Diego possibly winning, but I did not expect him to win so dominantly. He sparks him in 1 round. Figgy probably ended Cody No Love Garbrandt's career with the sub. In the first fight of the night was 2 former champions, Devinson Figueroa and Cody Garbrandt, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, he just derailed all of Cody's momentum with a very quick sub. Davidson looks like he could be dangerous. Shout out to the old guys. Bobby Green and Jim Miller went to war. All right, they went to war. Jim bleeding all over the place. Green gets the decision win, but I do want to give a shout out to Jim Miller. 100, 200, 300, he got it done. Probably won't see him at 400, but, shout out to a legend in terms of longevity in the sports. Now, Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia, which has been highly anticipated. They've been trying to make this fight for multiple years, even when they were friends back then, which they still might be friends. I don't really know. It's kind of confusing with the promo for this fight. But of course, they fought multiple times in the amateurs. I think it's tied or whatever, or Haney might be up by 1, or Ryan might be. There's so many conflicting reports. Nobody really knows. All right, they fought multiple times. They've beaten each other before. And here we are, them as professionals, them as big stars of the sport, them as at least 2/4 of the princes are coming together. Of course, Ryan looking to emerge as truly one of the elites, and not just as the prince, not just as a name, but this is a very big fight for his legacy in terms of where Ryan stands. Lost to Tank, got finished versus Tank, with the liver shot, took a blow, but still it was like, all right, you fought valiantly, you showed the balls to even take that and lose your O. What you gonna do now, against Devin? And in the build-up to this fight, Ryan has been on nothing. You can only describe it. I think I've said it before on here. He's in a manic state. He is in a manic state. I don't know how he could pass a psychological evaluation for this fight and still be allowed to fight, but he is in a manic state with the girl posting, the conspiracy theories. It has just been off the rails. All right, off the rails. Way beyond even just, going crazy and doing things for attention, for promo for the fight and trying to sell a fight. He has lost his mind, to put it very bluntly. All right. And I'm very, very interested to see how that affected his preparation. Because he had to be, we need to see the best version of Ryan Garcia. If he's going to beat Devin Haney, who on just a skill perspective might be the best of the 4 princes, potentially, from a skill perspective, from a pure boxing perspective. So it's going to be very interesting. Haney has showed us some stuff lately. So I think Ryan has a very tall task. I just don't know, with all of the other things going on in his mental state, how he's got a chance in this. I think he could get embarrassed here. I think Haney's going to smoke him and potentially even finish him in this fight. And he's just going to be like, I told you so. And it might even, depending on Ryan's behavior in this fight, be a little disappointed just because I think there's a little bit of that friendship still there, as we've seen in kind of their promos. I think Devin wishes that he got the more chilled, still selling the fight, but a more like the Ryan that we kind of knew before the past like 7 months. So we will see what happens. But yeah, I think Haney, like everybody else, is going to smoke Ryan, but we will see. We'll see if King Rye has somehow figured out the magical potion and he is ready to emerge as the elite. But I think Haney's got it here. Now let's go to soccer, the football world, all right, for my Europeans and non-Americans, okay? Let's go to the world. And to do that, we have to go to the Champions League, which was oh so entertaining. Oh, so entertaining this week, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, where do we even start? Real Madrid and Man City, which, let's be honest, from a talent basis, is the final. All right, from a pure talent basis, is a final. And could have been the final if the draw had worked out a little bit differently, because they're widely considered to be the two best teams. Let's be honest, in world football currently today, off of talent, star power, managing, just the aura, whatever you want to, whatever category. It's Real Madrid and Man City. We're gonna talk about Bayer Leverkusen because I know some of you Leverkusen fans are like, hey, look at what we're doing. But anyways, all right. Anyways, let me land. Real Madrid and Man City faced off in the first leg here in the QFs, and boy, oh boy, did it live up tonight. It lived up to the hype and more. 3-3, instant classic, a certified hood classic we had in the first leg. They went back to back to back to back to back. Nothing but bangers, by the way. I mean, nothing but banger goals. I saw somebody say, why are all of the goals in this game bangers? And somebody was like, because everybody on the field was world class, which was pretty true. Honestly, it was surprising with all the great performances in this match. By the way, and this goes, I guess, widely now for the two, I guess, heirs to the throne, so to speak, Kylian Mbappe and Haaland, both had very quiet first legs. Haaland did really nothing of note. Real Madrid did a really good job of kind of taking him out of the game and taking him out of his comfort zone. He was really relatively ineffective for Man City in this game, but 3-3. All right, Phil Foden has been on a rampage. He is looking every bit the star boy that he was promised to be. Rodrigo has been on fire lately for Real Madrid. Fede Valverde is still Fede Valverde. That's all I really need to say there. He scored in this game. And like I said, 3-3. Instant classic in the first leg. We will see what happens this week in the second leg. I'm very excited because it should be a good one. That wasn't the only classic on Tuesday because, ladies and gentlemen, Arsenal and Bayern Munich went back to back to back to back. They go 2-2. Back-to-back draws with multiple goals. Another really, really good game. Saka, Gnabry, Kane, Trossard, in that order for the goals. Harry Kane, it's just rough out here, buddy. It is just rough. He has scored so many goals for Bayern Munich. But we are going to talk about why it has just not worked out. But we will see, all right? This is a very big, and I think with what happened on the weekend for Bayern Munich, this makes this second leg upcoming much more important. It's starting basically 0-0 with both of them being tied. And, of course, there is no away goal ruling this year or anymore in the Champions League. So, of course, it really is just like, winner takes all there. Similar to Real Madrid and Man City, two very talented teams, two of the best teams a lot of people would say in world football. We will see what they have to offer. But, yeah, should be a very good one. I think it's going to be at the Allianz, because I think we were at the Emirates this last time around. So, yeah, we gonna see. All right, we gonna see. But Arsenal Bayern with another instant classic on day one of the QFs. Day two was a little bit different. Wednesday was a little bit different. We had two 1-goal wins late. All right, Barcelona and PSG. Right after PSG beta, by the way, came back in this game, went up 2-1. And then choked. I mean, just folded. Straight up folded. Rafinha had a masterclass. One of the best games I think I've seen. One of the best matches I think I've seen from one individual player. I mean, he was just dynamite in this game. PSG had no answer. He took over. On the field with the best player probably in the world today in Kylian Mbappe. Rafinha looked like the best player in the world that day. It was just a sublime performance from him, an absolute masterclass. He did very, very well. For PSG, Dembele got on the board for only the second time this year, but what a goal was it? Just an absolute rocket. He literally slipped as he hit it. Vitinha was very, very good in that midfield for this game. and was really kind of the controller for PSG. Well done. Pedri is Pedri for a reason. Showed up, instant impact, got the assist for Rafinha that really tied this game and altered kind of the course of this game for Barcelona and allowed them to end up winning this thing 3-2 after Andres Christensen, another sub, came through and got it done. Xavi has been on a run ever since they decided that, yeah, we're going to part ways. Xavi is just managing his off. It's like he doesn't have any pressure anymore, so now he's cooking. All right, and Barca cooked PSG, and PSG looked like, normal Champions League PSG. We will see what happens. Like I said, Mbappe was essentially ghost in this game. Very uncharacteristic, and it wasn't really, not that Barca played good defense. They marked him well, but it just, I don't know if it was something with Mbappe. I don't know if it was the game plan from Enrique, but he was out of his element it was very weird what they were doing positionally. Like, he wasn't running very much. He wasn't making very many runs. They pretty much stuck him to that left side, and it was just like trying to make something happen. It wasn't like him, he usually cuts inside, motions around, that attacking side of the field. He's a little bit more active than that. A lot of walking going on, not a lot of effort, to be honest. Even though Mbappe is my guy, it was very lackadaisical performance. I was very confused from what either Mbappe or PSG were trying to do. I don't think they played him right at all. I don't think they really gave him many opportunities anyway to exploit, the Barca defense. And he had moments where it looked like, maybe some magic's there, but yeah, just didn't have it. I think it cost them ultimately not utilizing him correctly or how they usually do. So we will see what happens, but Barca definitely has a major advantage over PSG, starting up 1-0 here in the second leg. Atletico. All right, Atletico gets it done. Simeone is going to try to sit on this league, in the second leg. So that's why this first leg was massive, getting this done over Dortmund. 2-1 win. DePaul, Leno, Haller got Dortmund back, in the tie with that late goal. We will see what they can do with it. Anything can happen in the Champions League. Atletico, though, is notorious for being able to sit on that lead. So we will see. We will see. Anything can happen. But, Dortmund's going to have a little bit of a challenge here to try to advance to the semifinals. But we'll see. All right, we'll see what happens. Of course, that winner will face that Barca versus PSG winner. Now, it was a disaster week for Klopp's kids. An absolute disaster class. First off, on Thursday, Europa League, at home, by the way, gets smoked by Atalanta. 3-0. Then on the weekend, they lose 1-0 to Crystal Palace, I think also at home. Just an absolute disaster, going down 3-0 in the first leg of the Europa League, which you were widely expected to win and were dominating up to this point. All right, makes it a very difficult job in the second leg. Pretty much tied nearly over, if you're down 3-0. Not impossible, of course, but, very difficult. And then with the loss to Crystal Palace, drops you to third behind, of course, Arsenal and Man City. It's going to be very tough for, Liverpool needs some things now to fall in their favor if they want to get that last, Premier League title for Klopp's last season. It's going to be very difficult with them dropping a third and really dropping those very, very necessary 3 points that would have kept them top of the table here versus Crystal Palace. So yeah, Liverpool, an absolute nightmare week. We will see what happens. But yeah, 1 week that Liverpool fans are going to want to forget. Bayer Leverkusen has been the story of the soccer, of the footballing world the entire year. Xabi Alonso's boys have been unbeatable. And they are still unbeaten. And not only are they unbeaten, but ladies and gentlemen, the real Farmers League, which is the Bundesliga, if we're going to call a league the Farmers League, right? 11 straight. 11 straight for Bayern Munich. And the streak is dead, all right? Because Bayer Leverkusen cannot be beat. They win 5-0 against Werman. Wirtz had a hattie, the star boy. It was literally the perfect day for Leverkusen. You win the title, your star child, your star boy, your wonderkid Florian Wirtz, the German himself, hometown hero, scores a hat trick in the last minutes. You're storming the field. It was the greatest day in the history of the Bayer Leverkusen Football Club. It was the greatest day they've ever had. They break the streak. Harry Kane's curse continues. Will he ever win a trophy? He's scoring 1 million goals this year, literally with Mbappe right now. And I think Ronaldo also technically for the world golden boot. It's like neck to neck. It's like they're separated by 3 goals, right? And he just lost another chance with the automatic title. Literally, the Bundesliga has been the Bayern Invitational And everybody's fighting for second place. The way that Red Bull currently is treating F1 is how Bayern has been treating the Bundesliga for the past 11 years. Minus a couple moments when Dortmund had a chance and then choked in the last matches, which has happened way too many times, by the way. But Leverkusen said nope. Xabi Alonso said nope. Word said nope. And they get it done and they break the streak. What a run and what a year. For absolute team of the year, Bayer Leverkusen, the dream continues. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, that brings us to entertainment. And well. Shogun, episode 8. I'm caught up, baby. I'm caught up. Torrenegra, I should have trusted him. I should have trusted Torrenegra. Spoiler alert, as always. Because I was worried with him going to Osaka. I was like, why is he quitting? But then, of course, at the end of the episode, we find out that Torrenegra is scheming. He's scheming up in Osaka. And, he's about to, plot on his ops. About to, Ichido, we got to get you up out of here. Oshiba, we got to get you up out of here. Torrenegra is cooking, all right? But there were some crazy sacrifices along the way in this episode. Of course, the big one was, Hiramatsu. So crazy. Your best friend committing suicide for the cause is crazy. He also lost his son in the episode before. So, Torrenegra paying the ultimate price, but he's scheming up very, very nicely. We will see what happens there. Blackthorn and Yabashig, everybody's favorite, buddy cop waiting to happen. It looks like it's going to happen. That alliance might be brewing. Of course, that's one of the funnier and fun parts of Shogun, in my opinion. So that link up looks like it's going down. Moriko and Blackthorn continue to dance around each other and emit incredible amounts of sexual tension that I haven't seen since I watched the Tearsmith last night. So, we will see what happens there. Mariko, by the way, said, Montaro, I am not effing with you at all, my boy. No, I'm not dying with you as your wife. No, we ain't getting back together. It's a dead thing. And yes, I'm still with the Anjin. And like I said, Ochiba and Ishido, they're also plotting potential marriage there. We will see what happens. But their schemes have worked up till now, but Torrenegra is showing up and he's ready to show out. So episode 9 should be fire. Shogun, one of the best shows on telly right now. Boy, music was absolute chaos. The hip-hop game is as they say, Drizzy about to drop, the game is in disarray, and we got it by surprise. But we had to set it up, of course. We got the second part of the collection of Future and Metro diss albums toward Drake, even though this one had a few less disses towards Drake than the, previous one. I Don't Trust You. Or We Don't Trust You, should I say. But We Still Don't Trust You. I didn't like it as much as the first edition. Of course, we got to get around to that second listen. We'll see what happens. I think he split it up into two sides, so to speak. Side 1, which was more R&B based, was not hitting as much. I mean, it had some good songs, don't get me wrong. I still liked the album, but side A, tape A, whatever you want to call it, was not hitting the same way. It just wasn't all connecting. Some of it was Side B was classic Metro and Future, and I liked that a lot more. That was getting done for me. So Crazy Clientele. They brought Lil Baby's career out of the grave. All right, Lil Baby's being slandered for the past 365 days for his fall off. Baby came back and said, no fall off here. He was floating on All My Life. So credit a lot of All My Life songs coming out lately, by the way. We need a new title. But anyways, came through. Those might be my two favorites off of the album so far for first listen. But I have this thing with Future. I'm a Future fan. Don't get me wrong. But I think there's a reason why, and this is very ironic considering the current circumstances, that he's not the big three. Despite the discography, despite the hits, despite, all of the acclaim and how much he's, loved by the fans. While we've never been like, Future's one of them. I mean, he's a legend, but he's not one of them ones. Not on that Rushmore, so to speak. He's on the trap Rushmore, but not in terms of, he's not a king. He's not one of the three kings or whatever, the big three. Though I guess Cole kind of succeeded his spot, so maybe Future can hop in. But anyways, it's just, I have this thing with Future. And I've heard it from other people, but, it might just be us. And it's not, music is subjective. But too much Future, it just doesn't hit the same. It just doesn't hit the same. Him in these large quantities and amounts just doesn't hit the same. He has these stretches on these albums that it's this is why he's Future. And then after a while, it's like, yo, I'm kind of tired of it. And I think I might have hit a little bit of Future fatigue here on this album, especially in that first half. Because I think it started to, after a while, it started to expose his limitations as an artist, which I guess sounds a little bit crazy to say, but just being truthful. Still a good album, but I think Future done with a little bit of overexposure here on his albums a little bit, because it was a very long album as well. So we will see. But yeah, him and Metro still delivered. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday, the game entered disarray and all hell broke loose. I mean, all hell broke loose. It started with a leak, which as a marketing, person, I'm not convinced that this wasn't a strategic leak, specifically after Abel came on one of the tracks, by the way, on Friday and said that that there was leaks in the OVO camp. So I'm not convinced that Drake didn't leak that first version or that reference track version. Or the OVO camp didn't leak that just to, steer up to the surprise and the drama before giving academics that full version of push-ups. But, oh boy, everybody was like, yo, is Drake going to answer? Is Drake running? Oh, his time is up. He's quit. Kendrick won off of Aura. What are you saying now? What are you saying now? I'm saying drop and give me 50. I'm saying drop a 50 ball for the mob. In the spot. I'm saying, Young Metro, shut your ass up and go make some drums. Like you work at Popeyes. Go make some drums. Because boy, oh boy, Drake blanked. All right, absolute blank. This man said it's a 20v1 and took him on. All right, he posted that picture of the bride. And by the way, got the Uma Thurman cosign, which is crazy. And that's essentially what happened. All right. Drake tried to solo and nearly did. Of course, it is far from over. I know Kendrick is about to come up with some absolutely hellacious, something disgusting. And I'm sure we're about to have quite a back and forth right here. But boy, Drake blacked out on push-ups, especially that second version that was mixed and mastered. Went absolutely crazy. I kind of wish he'd have kept, especially since Ross came back with his own track, because he wants to be the main character. Came back with his own diss of Drake claiming he has a nose job, which is just blatantly cap. Drake, the nose has been the same. The nose literally is the exact same. But anyways, he's claiming he had the nose job. He said he had lipo. He was making now he's making the jokes back and forth, which makes me feel, by the way, the jokes going back and forth between Ross and Drake, the trolling, makes me think that, they'll be collabing again by the end of the year. Cause this also just feels like these are two people that are just fucking with each other right now. But yeah, Ross it was decent, but again, I don't think it warrants, and a lot of people that hate Drake are like, yo, now he's got to answer Ross back. So for all 20, 50, 1,000 people he has to diss, he got to answer every single one with the track? Hell no. All right, Ross is not relevant enough in this conversation. He's a side character. All right, he's a side character. He's a side villain. All right, in this story, or if Drake is the villain, he's like Robin. He might not even be Robin. He might be Robin's Robin. All right, in this entire feud, this is Drake and K-Dot. This starts with the big three. That's really the only two that should warrant a full response. Maybe some of the more personal stuff with Future and Abel could warrant, if they ever dropped anything that was catered specifically towards Drizzy, then that could warrant a response. But Ross is playing not even second fiddle in this entire thing. So no, that doesn't warrant a response. He will get his bars though, I'm sure. Also, because he called him racist in a text to his mom. Y'all, again, a blatant troll. Are y'all stupid? Obviously, Drake does not think Rick Ross is racist. But yeah, I do think it's kind of crazy that Ross is dissing the man that kind of is responsible. Not that Ross wouldn't be, Ross, but you take away all the music that he's done with Drake. Are we really even having conversations about Rick Ross? Let's be completely real with you. And you spun because he cease and desist French Montana. Come on, bro. What are we talking about? Drake and Kendrick, y'all do your thing. It's going to get very, very ugly out here, though. I just know Kendrick is something diabolical is coming, and Drake is probably got something also very diabolical. So I hope everybody has fun, but I'm enjoying the negativity for now. But yeah, Drake responds, told you so, push-ups, absolute fire. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the main event of the evening, to quote the great Michael Buffer, we got the NBA, all right? We got the NBA. It is the end of the regular season. It is the end of the regular season. It was one of the funniest. I don't know if it was one of the best, but it was certainly one of the most entertaining and one of the funniest, I would say, NBA seasons. You can go and watch some of the Twitter compilations. That's for those wanting some context about that, but definitely one of the funnier seasons. And of course, it set up a very interesting playoffs, in my opinion. A very, very interesting playoffs, in my opinion, and what we got going down. Of course, not too much drama in terms of who's getting into the play-in. It was mostly just kind of seeding that was getting kind of thrown around this week. Of course, the big story yesterday on the last day in Game 80, Game 82, was, of course, LeBron James has regressed into 80-90% of Magic Johnson. That's what the regression kind of fell into, which I don't even know if it's really a regression, and it's just like another version. This is like the sixth prime for LeBron, right? We've had all the different primes of LeBron, the different versions. This is just the next evolution, where apparently he averages 25, 8 assists, shoots over 50% and over 40% from three. Shot higher from three than Chef this year, which is mind-boggling in year 21 once again. But yeah, Braun, who, by the way, they have to play the Pelicans in the play-in on Wednesday? Beat the brakes off these boys, as I say so eloquently. Beat the brakes off of them yesterday. Made a statement. And Braun made a statement. By the way, shout out to AD for staying relatively healthy for the rest of the year, even though we're not really going to talk too much about him. Though he had 30 and 11 in this game, got to give AD a little bit of his flowers. But this game was about Braun, all right? Because the man went 28-11 in not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, not 10, not 11, not 12, not 13, not 14, not 15, not 16, but 17 assists. A 28-point, 17 assist triple-double in year 21 at 30. Is it 38 or 39? 38 or 39, pushing 40. In the last game of the season, we still doing this. Locking up Zion Williamson, one of the biggest athletic freaks we've seen in the sport, and one of the best players in the sport, if we're being honest. Has Zion and Alcatraz too. Yeah, Braun is still very much so him. Playoff Braun is very much still much a thing, and he is still undisputably one of the best players on God's green earth. Even if we can claim that he's no longer, the best. But yeah, Braun still very much so elite. They put it on the Pelicans, made a little bit of a statement considering they got to play them first off here in the play-in. By the way, looking at the West and the East, it is kind of comical because everybody in the West is at least 10 games over 500. And then you got the East play-in where you got the Hawks who made it, who are 10 games under 500. So yeah, just a little bit of discrepancy in terms of quality here between the conferences. But yeah, we're looking at this for the East. Shout out to New York for getting that second seed. Again, Brunson cooking. He deserves to be on an all-NBA team, in my opinion, for what he's done. And really the star turn, by the way. Shout out to his development and kind of what Thibs has done over there in New York. But yeah, the Knicks get a very big, second seed, which could be very important in terms of positioning. Makes them have to, wait a little bit longer if they do make the Eastern Conference Finals to play potentially Boston, who, of course, had the best record in the league. They have all the pressure. All right, the Celtics have all of the pressure going into this playoff run. 64-18 this year. This should be the year, right? This should be, despite, everybody having the Nuggets reasonably so as the favorites, as the defending champions, with what we know Nikola Jokic can do on that team. This needs to be the Celtics' year. This needs to be Tatum's year. This needs to be JB's. It needs to happen now. No more failures. You've had your character development. Mazzola, nobody really believes. This is like Michael Irvin. Nobody. You have this amazing record, nearly won 70 games. Nobody believes in you. What are you going to do about it is what I would tell the Boston Celtics. They got the number 1 overall seed. Can they do something with it? And can they finally win that title that has evaded them in this current era? Of course, the Celtics have plenty of titles to go around and plenty of rings to go around. But yeah, can they climb that hill, and can, Tatum and Brown vault themselves into, Tatum vault himself as a true superstar of the game and kind of disprove some of the people that are naysayers wrong. Milwaukee, Doc Rivers needs to be arrested on war crimes for what happened down the stretch. This team is 18-22 on the road. and they're the 3rd seed. It's disgusting. All right. Why? Again, no clue why they got rid of Adrian Griffin, by the way. We still don't know what happened there. Doc Rivers has pushed his team into mediocrity. Dame laid an egg yesterday, by the way. Did not forget about that. And yeah, nobody really believes in the Bucks. We will see what happens. The East has a lot of frauds. All right, there's a lot of frauds. The 76ers, by the way, started off hot. Embiid got hurt, of course. So now they're in the play-in. They got to face the Heat, who have been notorious to just all of a sudden become an elite team here in the playoffs. We'll see what happens there. We also got the Bulls and the Hawks fighting to stay in the play-in. All right, that's the 9 versus 10 seed. Trey versus whatever's left in Chicago. That should be very, very interesting, and see if the Hawks can do something with that. The Magic, of course, probably the most surprising team this year. Or on the radio show this past week, I said Tinsley was my coach of the year. And the Magic were one of my biggest surprises. Paulo, the Wagner brothers, Cole Anthony, what they've done with that team, I think deserves a lot of props. So, kudos to the Magic. They were there with the 5th seed, got out of the play-in as well. So, yeah, we'll see if they can make it a little bit of a Cinderella run. Holly needs to get back his old ways if the Pacers are going to do anything. Of course, looking at the West, it came down to the wire. Technically, the Nuggets and the Thunder tied, but the Thunder do have the tiebreaker. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the jump happened. All right, it happened. They are the number 1 seed. Now it is time to find out if they are really what their record says they are. Are the young guys, all right, is the culture, that we've seen all year long, is Shea really ready to become a superstar, all right? Is Chet really to make that jump? All of it, all right? Are the Thunder ready? We going to find out. Going to be very interesting. They got the number 1 seed, which really makes the play-in a lot interesting because a lot of people were saying, you don't want to face the Nuggets. Nobody wants to face the Nuggets in, round 1. Nobody. No, not a soul. But they're the number 2 seed, which means if you win that between the Pelicans and the Lakers, if you win that game and you're the 7th seed, you got to play the Nuggets. A lot of people would much rather play the Thunder, which means you would have to lose this game on Wednesday and then beat whoever wins the Sacramento Golden State game. So, yeah, very risky business in terms of, if you want to play it strategically or if you just want to straight up win and not worry about it. Very interesting storyline there with the play-in and, of course, what happens with the number 2 and number 1 seeds. Minnesota lost it at the end, but still a 3rd seed. Again, a big moment for Anthony Edwards. It's a big moment for a lot of young stars in the league. We're definitely into that transition moment between Braun and KD and Curry and, the next generation with Wemby, of course, is an incredible rookie year. And, some of the young stars we already have in the league kind of making that jump. I think this is a really interesting year in terms of, can these young superstars emerge as, the next wave here in the playoffs? I think it's going to be very interesting. The West is uber deep. Of course, you got the Clippers and the Mavs, the Suns are the 6th seed. And like I said, everybody in that play-in is over 10 games, over 500. They've all been very solid or near the top at some point in the year, except for maybe the Lakers and the Warriors. So, yeah, we will see what happens. Sacramento Golden State's going to be very interesting. Sacramento has had a very solid year, fell off, after the All-Star break. Can they get revenge? The Warriors, of course, looking like they might make a run here. Big game for Curry, big game for Dre, big game for Clay. How long do we have left in that dynasty? Is this the last year of it? We'll see. All right, a lot of good storylines going on. It was a great season. It should be a very, very good playoffs. We will see what happens. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. Hendrick Motorsports on top right now. All right, Hendrick is on top, which, of course, for much of its history in NASCAR, it has been on top, and it is looking like that again this year. Last week we had Willie B, and I think a Hendrick 1, 2, 3. This week we have Chase getting it done in Texas. No need to worry about him getting injured and almost missing the playoff again. So yeah, Chase gets it done in Texas. A great performance. Chase Elliott, one of the best drivers in the world. And I guess NASCAR's golden boy in a sense. So, yeah, he gets it done. He wins at Texas. Scotty Scheffler, literally, we said Scotty or John Rahm. And it was Scotty. And it was Scotty all week. Scheffler left no doubt who the number 1 golfer in the world is at Augusta. I mean, left no doubt. Dominant performance. Shortest odds to win the Masters since 08 Tiger. So if you remember 08 Tiger, I know some of y'all are very young, may not remember that, but that was near end of the prime Tiger. He was still very much so Tiger Woods, as you've heard in mythology. All right, the monster, yeah. So that should tell you what Scotty Scheffler just did. But he claims his second Masters, 11 under. I think he was, 4 shots ahead of Olberg, who got second. But yeah, Scotty smokes them. He's the #1 player in the world for a reason. And yeah, he's got a very, very special chance to do something very, very special this year and really kind of elevate his legacy and his notoriety amongst people outside of the golf sphere. Of course, it is the WNBA draft today. It is the WNBA draft. We don't get to recap it, unfortunately. We may do like something on TikTok or something later in the week. I think if I'm predicting the top 4, I think it's going to go Caitlin #1. I expect Cam Brink to go #2 to the Sparks. #3, I believe, will be Rakia Jackson, and I think #4 is Camila. I think we've seen a couple of those like that. I think that's what's going to go down. I simultaneously can see Angel going where people are projecting, but I also could see Angel going a little bit higher than I think some people are on her. Nikki Mole, I think with her defense that she played on Caitlin, I think she could go higher. I hope Liz gets her all due respect because she would have been a first rounder had she not, hurt her ACL in that last game versus Virginia. So I do hope Lizzie gets her respect and gets her flowers. Again, it's a historical draft. This is the 2003 NBA draft. This is the version for the WNBA. So if you were working for any time to get into the WNBA or get into the W, it is now with, of course, Caitlin Clark and co coming into the league. And it should be a very interesting draft, even with us knowing who's going #1 to Indiana. And boy, have they been so subtle. I mean, all of the teams have been so subtle about who the Indiana Fever are picking #1. I mean, no clue. Massive surprise coming. I mean, just an incredible job hiding that. So, we will see what happens with the WNBA draft. Changes everything tonight. But boy, oh boy, everything has changed in Kentucky. All right, Coach Cal going to Arkansas. I think we talked about this last week, but we had the fallout of that this week. Kentucky missed on a couple candidates. They decided to go with former 1996 National Championship former member of Kentucky, which I think, and I wasn't surprised, by the way, with what the other Blue Bloods, right, Duke, had somebody groomed, though. That's the thing. Duke and Carolina had, Hubert and Shire kind of groomed in that position to take over. Pope, not necessarily groomed by the Kentucky mantle. He was at BYU, though, so still somewhat counts. But they went with the former player as well. So I don't hate the choice. It's not the sexiest pick, right, for Kentucky. But I think, of the options they had, it's not a bad choice by any means. So we will see what Pope is going to do. But the issue is that I don't know if there's anybody left on the team besides some walk-ons who might be gone too. Everybody is either declared for the draft, in the transfer portal, or they decommitted. They have one recruit left out of the recruiting class in Travis Perry. Somoto, gone. Quintance, gone. Boogie Flan requested for his today, gone. So Kentucky definitely stripped down. And I very much so wonder how it's going to affect Cal's kind of reception and legacy there with kind of how he's left. Could have been a little bit more graceful because he's definitely left. The cupboard is it's still Kentucky, don't get me wrong, but it is definitely empty. All right, Pope definitely has a challenge. He's going to have to hit that portal strong. He's going to have to see if he can convince some of these guys to stay because, Kentucky is a wasteland currently. So we will see what Pope can do with it and see if he can bring UK back from the ditch right now, but it is not looking good in Lexington. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed episode 193. I certainly did. Some interesting changes coming soon. But for now, Ocho signing off.